Welcome to the Friends of Zane Adams, aka FOZA podcast, bringing awareness of postpartum depression, suicides, and the children who are left behind. We'll be spotlighting positive outcomes from mothers as well as healthcare experts and counselors. Would you know the signs of PPD? Would you know how to help a loved one? Stay tuned. As a community, we can do more to support maternal mental wellness.
Greetings, everyone. This is Paulette Smith with Friends of Zane Adams, a.k.a. FOZA Inc. We are a 501c nonprofit dedicated to bringing awareness and resources to support sufferers of postpartum depression. We want to help prevent maternal suicides, and we want to support the children who are left behind. And we strive to stop the stigma, the silence, the suicides, and the suffering that often accompanies maternal mental health issues. Before I begin, I need to say a few words about triggers. This is a safe place. However, we may discuss topics that can be sensitive and may act as a trigger for some members of our audience. The content we discuss serves to provide information for educational and advocacy purposes only. If you're experiencing an emergency, call the National Crisis Hotline. That's 800-273-8255. If you cannot afford consultation, please visit FOZAinc.org and provide us with your contact information.
Well, hi there, FOZA fans. This is Paulette Smith, and today is very exciting because we're fortunate enough to have with us Brett Sekou, Handy-Kendi. She's the owner of Positive Energy Works. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the term Sekou, it's an ancient African term meaning wise, educated, and a great teacher. And that's a perfect description of Ayo and her life-changing holistic services for stress, trauma management, relaxation, and self-development using breath and transformative practices. Now, this podcast is another resource for postpartum moms, families, and FOZA fans to arm themselves with methods and technologies for self-care. Working along with your primary physician, you can apply some of these techniques to help relieve stress, anxiety, and to achieve a more balanced lifestyle. So let's get started by welcoming Ayo Handy-Kendi, the breath Sekou. Welcome, Ayo, and thank you for joining us today.
I am so grateful, Paulette, to be here with you and your audience, and thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. I want to give first and foremost praise and honor to the Most High for having breath in my own body, and I'm just so looking forward to this interview relative to a subject that I really, really, really appreciate that we're having this opportunity to talk about today.
I'm more than appreciative. I feel blessed that you've taken time to be here with us because we know you've impacted the lives of millions through sessions, stage events, radio, TV, and publications, and online. And we see vast amounts of knowledge that you share about the importance of proper breathing. So today, that's what we wanted to do, provide our audience of postpartum moms with information to help avoid some of the stress and anxiety they can get into. Now, you tell us that better breathing is one of the easiest changes we can make for the greatest impact on our spirit, mind, and body. So how does better breathing work to benefit the postpartum mom?
You have used the slogan so appropriately, Paulette, right in alignment to furthering this discussion, as breathing is the first thing we do when we come into the world. And breathing is the last thing we do when we leave this world. Yes. And we speak about breathing, but yet we don't pay a lot of attention to our breath. We take it for granted. Yet everything we do in between birth and leaving this world all relates to the efficiency of us breathing better. Because, yes, we just breathe. We breathe on average 20,000 times a day. Yet, seldom do we think about breathing until we can't breathe. or if we're challenged with an issue with our breathing. For a postpartum mom has gone through 9 months of being connected with a baby who has shared the breath of life with her. And many mothers, before they're pregnant, were already struggling to breathe efficiently. Their bodies were already showing signs of not being quite as healthy a body really could be when our body breathes efficiently, easily, effortlessly, maximizing every of those 20,000 breaths, 5 to 6 breaths a minute. Breathing simply brings us increased oxygen, and oxygen on the cellular level is the food for life. It is the food that surpasses all of the nutrition that we, bring into our mouth and drink. It is the essential quality of what we call the life force. And so it's demonstrated by simply understanding a very simple but very critical point, that here we can live without food for 45 or more days. We can live without water for 21 or more days. But without the breath of life, within 5 to 6 minutes, the brain begins to atrophy or die from lack of oxygen. And within, on average, 7, no longer than 8 minutes, there is no life. We're gone home to glory. Wow. And so a woman prior to pregnancy, if they can work to increase their oxygen levels by better breathing, by bringing in all of the elements of increased oxygen through better water drinking, through better oxygenated alkaline foods like fruits and vegetables, being out into nature, enabling us to breathe in the oxygen from the trees and release the carbon dioxide into the element that then recycles back into our bodies through increased oxygen. And to wear, breathing clothing and getting the rest that enables our brains to recalibrate, which then manage our breathing better and diminishes stress, which pulls the oxygen source and diminishes its oxygen in our bloodstream.
Wow.
If we were able to get all this together prior to birth, then while we're carrying the child, exchanging, our food, nutrition, oxygen, breathing, all of those same concepts to the child, we're sharing. So if we're sharing, but we're already depleted, that means we get drained. Right. And after birth, that's when oftentimes the drained mother shows the signs of being depleted. Her energy may be lowered, and this is often the beginning source of what we call postpartum depression, emotional imbalances, hormonal irregularities, being exhausted, and literally needing to just really maximize on every level of our nutrition to be able to support all these new demands of a new baby in the family.
Now, Ayo, I didn't want to interrupt you, but you touched on so many things there. I wanted to just make sure that my audience is getting all of this and the importance of all of it. One of your trademarks is breathe better, live better.
Yes.
And you have said that 90% of all Americans are not breathing effectively and therefore putting their health at great risk. That's a big number, 90%. Yes. So postpartum moms, they have all of the experiences that everyone has, but they are escalated. So what you're saying to moms about breathing better, and some of them have symptoms they might not even be aware of, and breath can help them as well. Breathing properly, effectively can help them.
Oh, definitely.
FOZA, aka Friends of Zane Adams, is dedicated to providing education, information, and resources to bring more awareness to maternal mental wellness, stop the suicides, and support the children who are left behind. Research shows 1 in 7 postpartum moms experience some form of depression that not only diminishes quality of life, but if left untreated, can lead to the 1 to 2% experiencing postpartum psychosis, which is an even more serious condition. To find out how you can help FOZA stop the stigma, the suicides, the silence, and the suffering caused by postpartum depression and related maternal mental health issues, please visit FOZAinc.org, FOZAINC.org today, or call 866-FOZA-INC. Remember, there's a role for everyone in the community who wants to help. Thank you.
So what you're saying to moms about breathing better, and some of them have symptoms they might not even be aware of, and breath can help them as well. Breathing properly, effectively can help them.
Oh, definitely, definitely. As soon as we're able to increase that life force, that nutritional meal at the cellular level, we see, our blood pressure get stabilized. We see our energy levels increase. We see our ability to have greater stamina. We see the greater ability to absorb nutrition that we take in our mouths and drink better. Everything about life increases by having the increase of this oxygen at the cellular level. And so to breathe better means we literally begin to live better. We offer, when I say we, as the founder of Positive Energy Work, the business that you cite, I'm blessed to be the founder of, we offer the awareness of better breathing through helping people do what's called a breath adjustment, where they are able to manage their own breathing. They're able to check in on their breathing. They're able to look and touch their bodies and see how well they're breathing. And in a breath adjustment, which is 2 to 3 minutes, people have been able to feel better after a breath adjustment of 2 to 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
You really hit something on the head there. Because one of the questions I was going to ask you, our moms can feel overwhelmed, they can feel fatigued, and when they see that they have to relearn how to breathe, they may think it's just another task on their list. So the techniques that you're bringing to them, they're easy and they don't take a lot of time.
No. They don't. They don't take a lot of time. We simply need to do several things, become more aware of the importance of breathing, therefore just pay much more attention to our breathing, and especially when we're not breathing. And that is the key. More often than not, we hold our breath, don't even notice we're holding our breath. And every time we hold our breath, or not allow the breath to flow in and out, in and out, in and out, that 20,000 times a day, 5 to 6 times a minute, we're essentially killing some of our cellular tissues. We're diminishing the capability of organs to function at their optimum level. And so to just be aware, number one. Number two, to begin to connect more with our breathing. That hand on our chest, the hand on our belly, gives us a chance to really monitor when we're holding our breath. When we're holding our breath high up in our chest, which is called shallow breathing. Most of us breathe high up in our chest compared to breathing low and deep around our belly area, which is the area known as the diaphragmatic muscle. That deep breath, that belly breath sometimes is called. It's sometimes called a conscious breath. That diaphragmatic breath increases our oxygen level by a good 20 to 30%, where people may bring in maybe a pint of oxygen per breath. Instead, when we breathe on the deeper level, we can bring in up to 30 to 40% more oxygen into our bodies, which is, of course, what? Circulated through the bloodstream and optimizing every organ in our body. And so, yes, just shifting the way you breathe creates almost immediate changes in people's metabolism, their productivity, the efficiency of being able to just stay calm and relaxed. And, of course, in our stress-filled world, that is a big, big, big factor in how the mother just coming home from the hospital, immediately her life has changed. She's having to, share her life with a newborn. She has all kinds of anticipation of how she's going to perform to make this baby's life the best. And she's got the family's anticipation because, they are all involved in also wanting the very best for this little one. And then, of course, the baby demands attention. So that means that now we don't have the time that we had. We have to share time. We have to find rest. We have to find peace and calmness in our own inner space to be able to give that to our newborn baby. Along with, if you got a family, you're sharing the same time also with other members of the family. And so we're in great need of having maximum efficiency of every aspect of who we are. But unfortunately, just having had the child has already done a fair amount of wear and tear on the mother, wear and tear on the mother's emotional and psychological well-being, because she's gone through some trauma. Most mothers, it's stressful to have a baby, right? I know all of this because I've been around several of my grandchildren and both my sons when they were born. And I've been around puppies that were born. I've been around people who have, when they were born, I've been around people who passed away too. So I've seen both spectrums of how the breath brings us into life and how breath leaves us at the end of our life. And there's a tremendous amount of shift of consciousness that occurs on both ends. So we've got to support our moms, and it's no surprise how many mothers actually succumb to the phenomenon that they speak of as postpartum depression.
You're absolutely right. I was just thinking about how things, the young people say now, back in the day. But before back in the day, way back, when a mother had a baby, and I am talking, other times, other centuries or whatever, but when a mother had a baby, that the entire village or that entire society, as it was, wherever she was, pitched in. I mean, she had the support from everyone in the entire community, and and the advice of people in the community. And COVID has not made it any better for us. And as far as her feeling like she's alone, she's the only one experiencing certain things. We belong to several groups of postpartum moms that count in the thousands, and women come in every 10 to 15 minutes. Not suicidal, but just looking for support and looking for conversation. And so that's what I wanted to, that leads me to this. In the conversations we have with our postpartum moms, communication with their primary givers is not always embracing. Because our moms tell us that traditional practitioners don't always make it comfortable for them to talk about holistic practitioners. And some new moms don't feel comfortable with pharmaceuticals when they're trying to nurse their baby or whatever. So what's your advice on how a mom should approach her primary care provider regarding your services?
I would just be open and honest and share with a medical practitioner or primary care practitioner that I do appreciate what the medical world can provide, but I know that holistic means the sum total of the whole, which means that we're going to bring in another dynamic that goes beyond the possibilities of what the medical services can provide. Medical services tend to be very test-oriented, pill pushing and working with the symptoms, but holistic more often works with prevention, and it works with the consideration that you have to look at every single factor. And so I would be very honest and open and say that, I wanted to have more tools in my toolbox during this period of time. And I hope you can understand. And, if medical practitioner can't understand in this day and age that holistic now has become way more acceptable because so many people are really somewhat disenchanted with what's happening on the medical lens. They
absolutely,
they know that they get a greater, more rounded, more natural possibility with working with someone who is looking at the sum total of everything. So I would also look at, as a holistic practitioner, we would suggest mothers having tremendous more water drinking. We would bring in natural herbs like lavender, which I think, the medical world seems to be a little more familiar with aromatherapy. I would encourage a mother to consider just having a chance to do spiritual bathing, which brings water into the environment in the skin level, okay? So it totally absorbs into the interior of the cells, and it's very relaxing and calming for the nervous system. And I would look at sound therapy. I would encourage our mothers after birth to spend quality time listening to sound, walking in the nature to absorb the beauty of all that nature does to calm and relax the mind. There's actual studies now that demonstrate holistically how just walking in the woods helps to relax and support the spirit, mind, body paradigm, right? I would ask the new mother to write to herself and to her baby. Write messages of your expectation so that you can be grounded in the understanding of doing the best you can and not have ideas and fantasy kind of expectations more often than not based on what the media has said to us that is supposed to happen when you have your newborn baby. Also, the expectations that are grounded in you and not just your families, but it's grounded in what you want for yourself and your newborn. And I would certainly pay attention to feeling low. And the concept of feeling low, where the doctor might suggest immediately, okay, you're nursing, but maybe there's still some medications that we could recommend. I've heard postpartum mothers even say that doctors just kind of whisked off the concept that they could be feeling low and didn't really take it as seriously.
You know what? What you're saying is very true. I've heard that, but from one of our other holistic practitioners, we have Rachel Redmond. She came on and she spoke with us, and she really was encouraging by saying that doctors who are really into you and really care, and of course that's up to the mom, that's a very personal relationship. But really good doctors that really care for you, they didn't go to medical school for holistic practicing. And so when you come to them as a mom who's struggling, who's feeling down, who's feeling low, who's feeling depressed, and you tell them that you are interested in holistic alternatives, and you tell them about the practitioner, they are receptive because that's another option or outlet for their patient because they care about their patient. And she said medical doctors welcome that, wherein there are some medical doctors who even prescribe that. They even prescribe it because I've noticed in my research that more and more traditional doctors are embracing holistic practices.
I think not
giving up medicine, but understanding, as you said from the very beginning, that there is a complete, holistic meaning whole, and bringing that woman together, because if she leaves that office feeling just as low as she did when she came in, that's not good.
That's not acceptable. And it means that I would change my doctor. I would. That's how sincere I would feel to say to any person that if their physician is not able to recognize the need for additional alternative and outside sources that are resources, they're simply resources. If a doctor could not accept that, that's not the doctor for you. But there's so much that the mother themselves have to do. They have to go beyond what everybody is telling her.
She has to be her own best advocate.
Yes, she's got to be her advocate. She has to listen to her body, her mind, and connect with her spirit. She has to be so in tune with asking the question to her heart. What is it that I need to know about what I'm going through right now? Yes, I was so excited. We call it eustress, where I was so excited about having this baby. And eustress is that we get just as stressed about new, exciting things in our life as we have with chronic stress or just stress-related symptoms. And eustress is tricky because we're having all this anticipation of this blessed event, and then suddenly we don't feel so good about it anymore. And so that means that, we sometimes question ourselves, is something wrong with me? To some extent, there is an imbalance going on. It may not necessarily be just your emotions that are out of balance. Your physicality being out of balance, as I mentioned, could be the source of it. But if you push it away and don't address it, then you're putting yourself at great risk. And so the goal would be to be in your inner self. We practice a transformative practice called shaking it away. Catharting, I call it. CARTHARTING. And it comes from an ancient concept where our native people, when they felt low or out of spirit or out of sorts, they allow themselves to cry. They allow themselves to wail. They did not question, is something wrong with me? Am I being too weak, or I can't handle this because I feel all teary-eyed? No, they accept it, they allow, and they actually increase the capabilities of that release. And that is a big challenge in our society because we are not necessarily encouraged to show our feelings, our emotions, and when we are not at our best, we are taught to mask it and cover it up and pretend. But instead, if we allow ourselves to cathart, and that means shake and shimmer and take pillows and beat them and scream and cry and inhale in and breathe out and inhale in and as if we're just almost like wailing, allowing the catharting, the releasing outward of our energy, so that it enables our nervous system to unwind and to recalibrate. And generally when we're in cathartic, it allows us to breathe in and breathe out dynamically because you're moving and shaking a lot. And that in itself increases the range of our breathing deeper into the body. And so cathartic is definitely a transformative practice. I would encourage any mother and really anyone, when they are feeling that they are out of balance, I would encourage people to allow that feeling and to use the tool of letting it go through allowing oneself to be animated, energetic, and engaged with, just this outpouring of movement, singing, yelling, screaming. And so people see my classes online especially, they say, wow, look at those people. And everyone, after the end of the class, everyone says, boy, that felt so good.
So I'm so glad that you brought that up. That was the very next thing we wanted to talk about. The information you've provided on your website is positively generous and extensive to help moms and everybody make a decision about seeking the benefits of better breathing. Now, you have so many things going on, a lot of them on your website, but you help so many people, as I mentioned, millions of people you've helped. And I know you also offer certifications, presentations, diversity healing, reconciliation circles, breath shops, and play shops. Can you tell us a little more about these programs?
We've been working with the breath over 50-plus years now, and the work came out of my own depressions and traumas and dramas, and so I've been able to craft workshops and presentations based on many of the breath techniques that I've learned along this 50-plus year journey. We teach a course called Optimum Life Breathology that kind of puts it all together. It's a certification course, and it's a personal advance, which is a retreat. And I don't like the idea of retreating because that means you're kind of going away. But I like to say we're advancing, we're moving forward, right? And so we've been blessed to certify over 188 breathologists. We've shared Optimal Life Breathology courses and classes and sessions in over 9 different countries and about 7 or 8 states in the USA. And we have been really excited to see that the breathologists are carrying on the work that I continue to craft. We also have things like play shops where we just, I'm certified in laughter yoga. I'm one of the few Black folks or people of color who is actually certified as a laughter yoga teacher and leader. And so laughing is breathing, okay? We also have courses that relate to using breath in circles for women in trauma and diversity healing, so that we have a systematic way in which the unconscious biases and the trauma that we hold on to that continues to affect us on every level that you can imagine, that we are able to breathe through and breathe away under the concept that you can't get to it unless you get through it. And if you don't get through it, then you never really touch upon what is often the root of our emotional and physical and spiritual imbalances. It's simply from having challenges that we just didn't ever face. Many of us were too young. Many of us were children or little toddlers, that a lot of our unconscious concerns will start it and will continue to resurface unless we get to it to get through it, release it and bring it forward. And so that's what most of the courses and classes, and then of course we help people breathe through anxiety, we help people breathe through depression definitely. We're doing telehealth for people who are having long COVID or other types of respiratory challenges. And we just started something new where you can actually come to the website, and without me, we have 1-minute breath breaks where you can breathe with me some pre-recorded breathing techniques that's available to the public 24/7.
That's really something that's going to be exciting for people coming out to the website. So our time is coming to a close. I'm so sorry because I appreciate you so much, and I could speak with you endlessly because you do truly bring a unique cultural and healing presence to your virtual audiences as well as your in-person sessions. And I know my moms who listen in will have a new and positive energy moving forward with the options you've given them today. I know that you have a very informative newsletter because I'm a subscriber, and I know that you have everything wrapped around the family as well. We always love when the family's involved because that's the solid foundation of our postpartum moms. So please tell the audience how they can reach you and further benefit from your services.
Well, we appreciate being able to share. Yes, it's very challenging to me to do half-hour shows because the courses that we teach are sometimes 3 and 4 hours, and Optimum Life Birthology Certifications is a 16-hour course. So certainly come to the website anytime. Lots of free information, opportunity to breathe with us. Our website is positiveenergyworks.com. There is only one E that connects positive with energy, and it's all one word, Positive Energy Works, with an S on the end.com. You can also call me. I receive phone calls and counsel and breathe with people over the phone. We may have to set up an appointment. It's not an emergency service, but it is a supportive service. There are some folks who just are breaking down and they call us. So 202-667-2577 is our number, 202-667-2577. We are also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we're about to start doing TikTok. If you go to Google search and look up IO Handy-Kendi, and IO spelled AYO, Handy, HANDY -KENDI, you will see a whole lot about IO Handy-Kendi and how to connect with me.
Will. I can attest to that. FOZA fans, that's it for this episode. I want to thank you on behalf of all our donors, sponsors, and supporters for tuning in. And I hope you gained some knowledge that will bring you to the self-care you so richly deserve. If you are a family member or caregiver listening in, I hope this information will serve as a positive resource. I want you to visit positiveenergy.com. Remember, there's only one E, connecting positive and energy, and see the many ways that IO can bring balance into your life. Now, FOZA is proud to bring you ways to stop the stigma, stop the silence, and stop the suicides and the suffering that often accompanies maternal mental health issues. Please visit our site, FOZAinc.org, for an on-demand version of this podcast and others. And consider this, every donation goes towards bringing awareness to maternal mental health. This is Paulette Smith signing off in loving memory of Christina LaShawn Thompson-Adams. Bye-bye now.